Hello everyone, welcome to NDA Defense Institute's Daily Current Affairs. So let us see some of the important current affairs of today. The first one, it is green hydrogen. So recently, India has organized this 2-day summit on green hydrogen involving this BRICS nation, okay? Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. So what is this all about? So it is about this green fuel. So because of the present day global warming and climate change deal, so India's intended nationally determined contribution, nearly 40% of the power sources of India or energy resource should be from renewable energy. So that is a commitment made by India. To stick to that, it means India should avoid using coal, okay, and other hydrocarbon related fuels. So that is why India is switching towards green fuel, and this specific summit has been organized by NTPC or National Thermal Power Corporation. So what is this green hydrogen? Simple. Hydrogen gas produced by splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen. So water is H2O. So splitting this H2O, okay, H2 as hydrogen and an oxygen molecule by using an electrolyzer. It is called as green hydrogen, okay, and that may be powered, splitting the electrolyzer may be powered generated from renewable energy sources. For example, we use windmills, as you can see in the image, we use windmills and solar panels, and using that energy, okay, feed that energy to the electrolyzer, and the electrolyzer will convert, okay, will split the hydrogen and hydrogen into separate and oxygen separately, and that hydrogen is called green hydrogen, which is, okay, emission free hydrogen. So also India pitched for this common international standard for this green hydrogen that has been produced, and this will be considered as a new age emission free fuel. Okay, generally hydrogen fuel is a future because it is less emission, okay, it has less emission, it only emit water vapor and heat, okay, no greenhouse gases, CO2 like that, methane, CH4 like that will be emitted. Second one is tax inspectors without borders. So recently this Bhutan's program, okay, it is called as this tax inspectors without borders, and it was launched in partnership with India, okay. So this TIWB or tax inspector without borders, it is a joint initiative of UNDP, United Nations Development Program, okay, one of the specialized agency of UN, and OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, okay, and the program is launched in Bhutan. Together it is a Bhutan specific program. So what is this program is all about? It is to strengthen the tax administration, okay, by transferring the technical know-how. So income tax, indirect tax, direct tax, a lot of taxes are there, CBDT, CBDIT, okay, so these departments are there. So how a country, okay, should organize a tax system for efficient tax payment, okay. So to know that, to transfer this technical skills and other know-hows and secrets, okay, to tax auditors, and sharing of the best practices including international taxation and transfer pricing. So regarding tax administration, okay, give basic training and modern technologies used in tax assessment, and India has been chosen as its partner jurisdiction, okay, to give this tax expert advices for this specific program. Next one, it is other service providers, OSPs. So recently DOT or Department of Telecommunication has liberalized the guidelines for this OSPs or other service provider. Okay, generally service provider means which provide, ISP means internet service provider, okay, it is a kind of providing, okay, it is to provide services to the people, and these OSPs are nothing but business processing, BPO organization, okay, generally KPO, knowledge processing output, BPO, okay, business processing output. So these two are the backbones of software industry, okay. India achieved this software bloom because of this BPO and KPO. So yes, the BPOs are organizations giving voice based services in India, okay, where KPO, it is knowledge based services, knowledge processing, process outsourcing. BPO is called as business process outsourcing, okay, voice over, okay, for people who are there, okay, in USA, for them service can be done from India, okay, Indian sitting here will serve the people there in USA. So that is called voice based services. And the distinction, so how they liberalized this OSP providers, they remove the distinction between domestic and international OSPs, okay, because of that all OSPs are considered in the same lines, and a BPO center with a common telecom resources will now be able to serve customers located worldwide including India. So there is no need for a separate domestic OSPs, Okay, if there is a international OSP, that can also be utilized in India. So there is no need for installing a domestic OSP. Also, EPBAX or Electronic Private Automatic Branch Exchange of the OSP can be located anywhere in the world. Okay, it is like a centralized exchange, automatic exchange of the BPO organization, and it can also be located anywhere. Before that, it has to be located only in India, okay, or where the country that has been providing service. And interconnectivity, okay, between all types of OSPs is now permitted. Before that, it has to work in silos, okay, part by part, separately it has to work. Now interconnectivity is also been permitted. The next one, it is Saint Vincent and Grenadines. So recently Union Cabinet, okay, they have approved a tax agreement, okay, tax exchange information exchange agreement between India and Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. So this is a country in Caribbean. Okay, so this is North America, Florida, and this is South America. So here, the area here, okay, Cuba is there, and the area here is called West Indies. Okay, small island countries are there, and one such country, okay, around this West Indies island, it is called Saint Vincent and Grenadines. It is an island nation. And why India has signed this exchange of information agreement in the sense, okay, it is to assist each country in collection of tax claims. So generally businessmen will choose to operate from a country where the tax is very less. So these countries are called as tax havens. A country is called as tax haven whenever the tax in that country is very less. For example, if India, there is Mauritius. In Mauritius, okay, the tax is very less. So what will do, the business, they will generally go to the Mauritius, they will establish there in Mauritius, and from there they will invest in India. Okay, why? Because in India, if you establish the office, you have to pay more tax, whereas in Mauritius the tax is less. So these countries are called as tax havens. Panama Island, okay, all one of this West Indies islands, Antigua, Barbuda, all these islands are called as tax havens. And only for that, to collect this tax claims only, India has signed this agreement. And what are the parts of this agreement? As you can see, it contains tax examination abroad provisions that provide the country may allow the representatives of each country to enter its territory to interview individuals and examine records. Okay, directly income tax personnel from India can go to St. Vincent and they can interrogate the person, okay, who are there, and they can collect information. So that is allowed. So that is why it is called exchange of information related to tax claims. And as I told you, this country is an islandic country located in Caribbean. The capital is Kingston. Next one, it is Central Warehousing Corporation or CWC. So recently, the Union Cabinet has approved the merger of Central Rail Side Warehouse Corporation or CRWC with the Central Warehousing Corporation CWC. Okay, so what these two organizations are about, as we will see. The CWC or Warehousing Corporation is a Mini Ratna Category 1 Central Public Sector Enterprises and also a statutory body created by the Warehousing Corporation Act of 1962. Whenever a body is called statutory, when it is created by an act. So what is the purpose? Warehousing means, okay, storage facility. Okay, that is called a warehouse where, okay, used to store things there. So it is a public warehouse, okay, established by Government of India in 1957 for the purpose of warehousing of agricultural produce. Okay, warehousing of agricultural produce and commodities. So all the food grains, okay, cotton, wheat, rice, everything that is being produced, instead of, okay, plinth storage method, okay, in a closed area we have to store it, okay, for safety, okay, so that it has a long shelf life in the sense, okay, having a long expiry date. And that is why this Warehousing Corporation CWC has been created. And the HQ, it is in New Delhi. The HQ of this is in New Delhi. Okay, and in 2007, to use the railway land, okay, because majority of the crops and the food grains are transported via the trains. So use that, okay, that land under Ministry of Railways and along the areas, okay, can be utilized to build warehouses, because it is easy to transport, okay, from the warehouses. When the warehouses is located near to the railway station, okay, we can easily transport, okay, and we can easily depot. So it will be very useful and convenient So that is why the Ministry of Agriculture along with Ministry of Railways, they have signed a memorandum, and CWC formed a separate subsidiary company, a sister company called Central Railside Warehouse Company, okay, in 2007 to develop railside warehousing complexes, okay, because it will be very easy if the warehouse is near, okay, transportation purpose it will be very easy, it is easy to load and unload, okay, in the train, and from the land leased from railways, because railway ministry, okay, has large number of government owned land in India, okay. So because recently what happened, this Central Railside Warehouse company, it doesn't go as much as they thought, okay, the utility was not that much as they predicted, and there is no much development, so they was like, okay, there is no need hereafter, let us merge it back together. So that is why the cabinet has approved the merger, and CRWC or Central Railside Warehouse Company, it is a Miniratna category 2 Central Public Sector Enterprises incorporated under the Companies Act. So CWC was incorporated under the Warehousing Corporation Act, whereas the CRWC, it is incorporated under the Companies Act of 1956. You see the next one, National Institute of Open Schooling, so NIOS. Recently, the Ministry of State for Education, okay, Shri Sanjay Datre, launched this NIOS Diploma Course in Yogic Science, okay, on the occasion of International Yoga Day on June 21. So what is this NIOS or National Institute of Open Schooling? Before it was called as National Open School. So what is an open school? It is similar to Open University, okay. What is Open University? Anyone can apply and they can be a student, okay, rather than a traditional, okay, you have to join a specific school like that, no, okay. If people cannot able to go regularly, okay, in a full-time school, they can go to school via part-time. So this is called as like an open university, it is open school. So this, okay, National Institute of Open School in NIOS, it is a national board of education that administered secondary examinations and senior secondary examinations, SSLC 10th and 10 plus 2 intermediary, to the CBSE and CASE, okay. And it also offers vocational courses, okay, like plumbing, mechanical, diploma, ITI, like the vocational courses after the high school. And it is NIOS is an autonomous institute under Ministry of Education, and the headquarters it is in Noida, Uttar Pradesh. So recently this NIOS Diploma course in Yoga Science has been launched as a vocational course in NIOS. Next, it is Olympic Day. So on 23rd June, Olympic Day is celebrated all around the world. So what is this Olympic Day? This day was introduced in 1948 to commemorate the birth of the modern Olympic Games on 23rd June 1894, okay, at Paris. So to commemorate that date only, they have started this Olympic Day. So what is the goal? Simple, promote participation in sports across the globe, regardless of age, gender or athletic ability. So there are also, okay, Paralympics to specifically cater for the benefit of differently abled persons. And in the same date, the IOC has also been formed. To commemorate that also, the Olympic Day has been celebrated. And what is IOC? It stands for International Olympic Committee. So it is a non-governmental sport organization based in Lausanne, Switzerland. So the headquarters is in Switzerland, and this IOC is responsible for organizing the modern summer and winter Olympics, okay. And this IOC is also a international governing body for National Olympic Committee. So each country have a National Olympic Committee, NOCs. All the countries NOCs will collaborate with the IOC, and thereby they will exchange information and they will cater to the needs of the athletes, okay, and for the worldwide Olympic movement. And NISTA. So the NISTA is an acronym that stands for National Initiative for School Heads and Teachers Holistic Advancement. So it is in the name, School Heads and Teachers Holistic Advancement. Yes. So this NISTA is considered as the world's largest teacher training program ever, okay, because it aims to give training to nearly 42 lakh government teachers across the country. 40 lakh government teachers, okay, including principals of the schools, headmasters of the school, as well as the teachers, nearly 42 lakh throughout India, okay. And it is a national flagship program and of NCERT, okay, National Council for Educational Research and Training, under the Ministry of Education, Union Ministry of Education. So this NISTA program has been initiated in 2019, okay, by the then Minister of Human Resource Development, okay, to build this 42 lakh people, to train 42 lakh people nearly. So what is the objective? Motivate and equip teachers to encourage and foster critical thinking in the students. okay, to give teachers an insight, okay, to take modern educations, okay, bring education revolution by bringing changes at the teaching level. So how teachers will be trained? So teachers will develop their skill on various aspects related to learning outcomes, school safety and security, use of information communication technology ICT in teaching, including AI, artificial intelligence, environmental concerns, and school based assessment in a joyful manner. So that is why modern activity based learning, so kind of to bring about changes at the teaching level. And this training will be conducted directly by nearly 33,000 key resource persons or KRPs and state resource persons identified by the states and UTs. So they will be the nodal point of contact. They will take the training to the teachers and other school heads throughout the India in all government schools. So that's it with today's current affairs. So let us come up with more innovative and informative current affairs tomorrow. Thank you.